I don't know how I feel about Homer Simpson in kidney trouble. This is an episode in series 10. It's the 8th episode of the 10th season, directed by Mike B. Anderson. And I don't know, I feel like there are bits of it that I quite liked, but I feel like they milked certain things a bit too much, but it was also kind of heartfelt at times. Um, but I definitely think the treatment of Homer was pretty reasonable. Because of certain circumstances that I won't go into any detail about, I don't want to spoil too much, Abe ends up needing a kidney transplant. Now, it didn't even occur to me when I was watching this, but the thing that led to that, when I read the goofs on IMDb, would never ever lead to that. So apparently the whole setup is actually not even realistic, which hadn't even occurred to me. But it's something to bear in mind if you like realism in The Simpsons. And Homer is a match, and he agrees to give his father a kidney, but at the 11th hour he runs away and ends up on a ship with some other people who have been, cast aside, and there are some really interesting characters on there, and that bit I found to be quite interesting, and they're all telling their story, and, about how they've been cast out and are not welcome anymore, and then Homer tells his story, and they think he's the worst person on earth, and understandably so. And at several points, Homer seems to realize he needs to do the right thing and then always changes his mind at the last minute. And I think they did that one too many times that it kind of got old after a while. And I think they needed to stop doing that. Every time I thought, okay, he's realized the error of his ways, he's going to do the right thing, he fled again. And I just think one too many times that happened, and they milked it a bit too much. Of course, what ultimately happens, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to ruin it, but I think the treatment of Homer by the other characters and by certain things that happened in the episode was quite accurate. Did they guilt trip him? I don't think so. There's obviously always this thing where people maybe feel guilted into giving somebody a kidney if they're a match, and obviously being a kidney donor doesn't come without risks. Did they maybe guilt trip him into doing it, or to at least saying yes to begin with? Maybe a tiny bit, and that's always a bit of a concern and something that's at least worth discussing. But generally speaking, I feel like the treatment of Homer was what I would have expected. It's not a bad episode as such. I didn't hate it. There are definitely bits, such as the boat, that I quite liked. But by and large, I think it's got some room for improvement. Not my favourite, but probably not my least favourite either.